My name is Shannon Shea. I'm the Executive Director of Elder Love USA. John challenged me to explain why I thought forming a in-home care agency was good as a nonprofit and not a nonprofit because nobody else is doing it. So, aside from my answer because I wasn't born yet, here's the answer. All right. So, the Drucker model. Peter Drucker was a management consultant who believed that efficiency is doing things right and effectiveness is doing the right thing. There were 4 key areas of focus: planning, organizing, controlling, and leading. And I believe that Drucker's theory of organizing is most critical for my presentation. Organizing allows people and groups to work together to achieve the goals of the organization.
Oh, nice.
Here's the question. So today I will be talking about why I believe structuring a senior in-home care company as a nonprofit is an innovative and necessary solution to the current in-home care model. I will highlight the measurable gap between what is and what should be, and I will ask the critical question: if structuring an in-home care agency as a nonprofit was such a great idea, why isn't everybody doing it? I refer to Robert Kennedy, who was quoted as saying, "Dream of things that never were and ask why not." A fundamental distinction between the for-profit and the nonprofit organization is that the for-profit organization has owners that hold equity in the enterprise. The for-profit organization is operated for the economic benefit of its owners, and the profits of the business are passed directly through to them. It's an entity that's designed to generate profits for their owners. In contrast, a nonprofit organization does not distribute its profits or earnings to the people who run the organization, unfortunately. All profit or surplus must be redirected back into the operation of the nonprofit. No one individual may make a personal profit from the surplus outside of a reasonable salary, and I go into detail in my paper about the IRS's definition of reasonable. The book defines nonprofits as organizations that do not exist primarily to generate profits, either directly or indirectly, and that are not primarily guided by commercial goals. Most nonprofits are created to fill a void in the market and exist to address a market failure. So the current standard in-home care model, currently, nearly every senior in-home care agency is structured as a for-profit entity, and most of these are franchises. The amount of money to be made in the senior in-home care industry is mind-boggling. For example, Always Best Care is a franchised home care company. It's one of thousands of home care companies. In 2016, they earned a combined revenue of $119 million. In 2017, it rose to $132 million. And last year, it jumped to $149 million in revenue in 1 year for one agency.
Wow.
So that's a lot of money to be made for people to put in their pockets. And I believe this is the key reason why there are not any other nonprofit home care agencies. But all mine. So the nonprofit home care model. Home care is not currently covered by Medicare, so people must pay out of pocket for services. This may change in the future. There's been talk that Medicare is going to add some home care into their service, but it's probably going to be like 5 hours a year or something stupid. The out-of-pocket expenses can be quite costly, with some agencies charging between $25 and $40 an hour, depending on the level of care. And by structuring our home care agencies as a nonprofit, we're able to charge a small fee for service and supplement the true cost through other means. So although some people believe that a nonprofit should be free, their services should all be free, a fee for service is the most common source of revenue for nonprofits, particularly in the health and human services sector. Think of hospitals and that kind of thing. By charging less than traditional care and supplementing the true cost through donations, fundraisers, grants, people are able to understand the fundamentals of this model. With our sliding grant program, those that have more discretionary income pay slightly more than those who do not. And this way, each is paying the same percentage or flat rate based on their discretionary income. We also do not charge based on the level of care needed, and we have no hourly minimums and no contracts. Many of our clients only need our help for an hour or 2 a week. Volunteers. In-kind donations in the form of volunteers is critical to our success. Although we will continue for now to have paid employees, the main basis of our caregiving will be provided by volunteers. Many of our employees are not interested in working 1 to 2 hours a week, but for a volunteer, that's perfect. So according to our book, labor costs can make up to 70 to 80% of expenditures for businesses, and I can vouch for that. By being structured as a nonprofit, we can also utilize volunteer labor, which exponentially expands our workforce while significantly reducing our labor costs. So the lower our costs, the lower our hourly fee to the client, and the more people we can help. By being more focused on volunteers, we are able to really explore Drucker's organization theory. Not only do we have groups of volunteers working as caregivers, but we also have volunteers who help in the office, at fundraising events, and as brand ambassadors. All these groups work together to achieve the goals of the organization. So in conclusion, for-profit agencies have an ultimate goal of making money. Social enterprises such as Elder Love USA have one ultimate goal, and we're our ultimate bottom line, which is to measure our success by our impact on the community. If the goal of an in-home care agency is to care for as many seniors as possible, then structuring as a nonprofit is the best possible option. However, if like thousands of other companies, the goal is to make individual profits, then structuring as a for-profit is a lucrative option. Structuring as a nonprofit is the best way to make home care about people and not for profit. I believe by structuring our organization as a nonprofit, we are not only able to help more people for less money, but we could potentially revolutionize the home care industry.